his son goes to Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
It's a
sense.
private school.
Yeah.
Does Daddy Scrub Daddy live here?
Probably has a house down here.
Yeah, that would make sense.
He has a house in Tampa. He has a house down here. He has probably one in the Bahamas. And then like probably like a timeshare out in like Colorado for skiing.
Probably.
Have you been to Tampa, right?
I drove through it.
I only went there once for like bush garden.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, technically I was in Busch Gardens, but when I was in ROTC, we went against a high school that did NJROTC in a competition. It was a fun one, so it wasn't like a normal military stuff. It was called Brain Buzz or something. It's just Jeopardy, but with military questions.
That's fun.
Like nautical stuff, like nautical equations, like if your boat is sailing at this many knots, and this is on what.
us down, Mitch. Nato. As the pretty skies set in Boca, Florida, two teams that were on opposite sides of the score margin last night will close out this series with the number 2 Tampa Spartans visiting the Florida Atlantic Owls. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the upper balcony here at Boca Ice Center. Devin Serra joined alongside Sydney Nato. Happy to have you back on the broadcast with us, Sydney, as two teams that now know each other very well. What a score team that speak for Tampa way with FAU, and hopefully make this a little bit closer.
Absolutely. To see from Owls is can they fuel the loss that we saw yesterday, and how are they going to? And so we also know that Tampa is going to be a very aggressive team. So maybe we'll see some changes starting in the beginning.
Yeah, and you know, if you're looking at that roster, it feels like they have to try something different, because when you lose like that, it certainly sits with you. Have you ever seen a situation like that where you've lost by a lot and you have to flush it mentally? How much of a challenge is that to do that in such a short time, you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, being on a soccer team myself, we know that looking at film, just feeling that pity underneath you, it really does suck. But you do have to realize that, hey, okay, we're going to learn from our mistakes, and now what are we going to change? And that, again, comes from our coaches, but also as a team and players, we got to bounce off one another.
Certainly. There's no time to pity yourself, especially against one of the best teams in the country that's not going to hold any punches. They certainly didn't with 8 third-period goals last night, and we'll see if Andrea Goda and the Owls can make this a closer game in this one. Puck drop is just on the other side for this M3 matchup. We'll close up this series in just a few minutes' time. You're watching FAU and Tampa coming up next on Owl TV. Great.
Okay.
Feel good?
Yeah.
Minus for both sides. Firstly, visiting Tampa Spartans. They turn to the freshman, Jack Adamczyk. And I joked before we went on air that they might not start Jack tonight, but just as the announcer jinx comes through, they do start Jack Adamczyk out of Sarasota, Florida. One game this year, 5.19 goals against average, .800 save percentage. Product of the Clearwater Ice Storm, AA product. In net for your FAU Owls, they turn back to Seth Fisher after Matt McMillan's tough night. The sophomore out of Arnold, Maryland, had 10 games last year, 7-3-0, a 3.57 goals against average and .847. He's been pulled a couple of times this year and needs a bounce back against a talented number 2 team in the country. Tampa starts out there. Alexander Valencia had a hat trick yesterday alongside Brendan Sickles, number 92. At center, Tommy Atanasio. And then at the deep pairings, they'll get on Trace Cowart along with Kieran Thompson, who was a big forward for them. And that night, Sam Watson turns to the defense, but he's in a hybrid role, taking the face-off draw. They'll start out there with Nick Andonovsky, and they'll get Carter Baker in the forward lines. Michael Terry at defense, blowing a tire behind the play. And here we go. We're underway in game number 2 of this series. And Jake Buccigross, one of the starting defensemen, played well among a team that didn't in the second half of their 15-4 loss a night ago. Less than 16 hours ago, actually. This one is out of the zone, back to the neutral ice. Tommy Atanasio touches the puck. One of many players with points. They had as many as 14 Tampa Spartans touching the puck for points last night in their victory. This one funnels behind the Owls' net. Getting on top of that is Antonovsky trying to get out from the far wing. Carter Baker smushed to the boards one time by Sickles. They get in the offensive zone anyway. It's a battle for it in the far corner. Valencia against Watson, digging out with Antanasio. Antanasio for the Spartans will just saucer it at center ice. It's carried by Kieran Thompson onside. He's got one in the middle. Great poke check by Buccigross to negate him from getting inside. Owls start a break out of their own zone. It'll be carried by the man that made the defensive play. Stopping, getting around one guy, the dump and change for the first line move of the Owls tonight. Ryan Wilbur jumps on this. Touch for it by Sickles at the red line. After it is Eric Lehrhaupt, number 13, had 2 goals among 6 different multi-goal scorers for the Spartans last night. Lehrhaupt puts it back there for the later chance on offense. Hofberg unable to sustain the forecheck. He had a multi-goal performance as well in the second period. It's carried by A.J. Lavulo, number 10 in black and red. Owls go from left to right in their powder blue uniforms. Spartans from right to left. Petito in the middle, unable to get through 2 Tampa defenders. Malcolm back lower. Petito helping out his forward, trying to get some offensive sustained pressure. They can't do so. Cross-side feed from Lehrhaupt. Up the wing for Hofberg with a heap of speed. Hofberg goes to the net. Backhand right the outside of the goal. You could hear that one from Brick Street. First shot of the game for the Spartans, and it can't get through. Quick pace to this one. It's taken by Ethan Gelman entering alone. Far wing defended by Malcolm. Drop pass, one-timer. Sent wide to the left post. That one sent by Reagan Lyon back into the lineup, number 28, out of Queensbury, New York. He's one of the best goal scorers among a very deep Tampa roster. They roll all 4 lines in the scoring metrics. Centering feed, nobody home except jumping on that puck was Cole Burton, number 5. Takes a check. They go in after to fish the puck out. Petito stalks in the middle. They'll put it out in front, and that good stopped one time, but then it trickled through. I lost sight of the puck, and Fisher might have as well. It's a goal to start for Reagan Lyon. And just like that, Sydney, 3 minutes in, it's Tampa 1-0.
Yeah, and we expected this really fast start from Tampa, but one thing we cannot, or for FAU per se, is we cannot let this continue. Now, how are they going to change it? What are they going to do to make something different? This is what I want to see.
Yeah, the hardest part for this Owl team has just been riding the emotions. It seems like when things are going well, they're really high and proud of it, and as they are offside entering the offensive zone. But when things have gone wrong, they have had a tendency to let it spiral, and it's a common thread in sports. It's a common thread with a young team, and that's what we've seen out of the Owls so far in this young season.
Yeah, and it's interesting because yesterday's game, they were able to kind of hold off until all the way to the third period. So maybe we can see them continue to hold off because we know Tampa is a very strong team. But what is going to be different so they don't let an enormous amount of goals in.
Playing a full 60 minutes is the name of it. It's been a struggle, to say the least. Far angle chance. Here's Tampa out of their own zone defending D-to-D. Burton over to Jake Nealing. He had a multi-goal performance. Number 2 in black out of Arlington Heights, Illinois. The freshman will get sandwiched between Moriarty, and helping out that play into the frame comes Danovsky back on the ice. Far wing, it's taken by Malcolm. Quick shot in front, never got to Fisher. This one's handled and carried out of the zone. Owls do a good enough job just to get much needed line changes. This will reach the trapezoid, but it was touched by the Spartans kneeling before it got there. Bardashevich into the lineup, number 23 in powder blue. Out on the ice with Nicholas Snyder. He's sidestepped by Yanni Satsoulis. Had a hat trick alongside Sickles last night. Satsoulis, backhander in front, blocker saved by Fisher. Kept on side deeper. This one's held by Antanasio. Correct myself from earlier. Valencio I called the hat trick, but he had a multi-goal performance anyway. In the middle, taken away, great defensive stand by Snyder. He'll carry it out over the Boca Ice logo. Right wing chance for Comtois Tuman, number 37 in powder blue. Snyder as he takes the check. Antanasio's in there. Puck is framed up on the back of the goal, then scored it in towards Jack Adamczyk for his first cover. And the young goaltender will have his first faceoff in his own zone. 15:22 to go in this one. Devin Serra, Sydney Nada joined alongside with you. First of 2 games today. The M3 squad wraps up with Tampa. M2 will take on Florida for the second of 3 games. The M2 Owls won 6-3 yesterday. A much-needed win against the best team right now in College Hockey South M2 among the 3, which is Tampa, FAU, and the Gators. This Owl group struggling to get any kind of forecheck sustained. We're 5 minutes gone already in this first. The only goal, number 28 in black, that's Reagan Lyon. Puck stopped at the red line, bit of a unclean cut by the Zamboni. Puck is not drifting as smoothly as you might like on that far side of the ice. A little bit of give and go for both sides. Carter Baker stretch pass, unable to handle that feed. They turn it over from Trace Coward anyway, though. Sam Watson against Valencio. Far board caught up to by Sickles. He'll have a racing forward and Kieran Thompson with him. Long snapshot, goes wide of goal. Kept on side, coming off the bench, Ryan Wilbur. For Valencio in his skates. Malcolm presses him to the near corner. Sickles comes in to take away the possession from the point. Shot steered away by Fisher, but he'll flip it up into his glove, and that will cause a face-off in the Owl zone. Spartans, coached by Jack Walsh in his 6th season at the helm, garnered win number 100 in their Battle at the Beach Championship a weekend ago against Embry-Riddle. He is a former player. 3 times he took this team to the national tournament in ACHA days before COVID. Look out, shot towards Fisher, second try. That one sent wide, snapped by the blade of Antanasio. Owls get out of harm's way for now. Carried over by John Bayona. He'll take a check, rubbed out by Coward. Help from the back end by Lavulo. Owls sustain the zone, however. Bayona loses an edge. Bayona cycles it lower. Caught for Peter Petito. 2 goals, the only multi-goal scorer for the Owls yesterday. Out comes Ryan Wilbur. Connects for Lehrhaupt towards the net. Snapped a shot wide. Bayona jumps in that loose puck against Wilbur. Gets out of harm's way. They'll go D-to-D with Malcolm in their own zone. The Owls really just giving the puck back to this Tampa team that has already set up in the neutral zone, and they fully have committed to keeping that side of the ice in favor of them. Sydney, I wonder if you think about how a pitch works. Like when one team's stuck on one side of the sheet, it seems like they've already got an advantage because they're already set up defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what, when you get that many people under the puck, it is very difficult in transition. But I feel like for FAU, that's when they need to be most impactful as another goal goes in for Tampa.
That's Cale Harrington with a snapshot, and the Owls unfortunately just chasing this puck in their own zone. The cycle by Tampa capitalizes. That's the first of the weekend for the Richmond, Maryland freshman.
Yeah, and it looks like FAU is just being very reactionary once the puck is moved. And so this is when they just need to regroup, even though we got 12 minutes before the period, just to figure out how can they just stay behind and then move forward.
It's a tough one to give up there. What we were talking about is getting bodies to the puck, and it just feels like the Owls, they try and get numbers to the puck. They try and outnumber a defenseman, but they just don't win these battles as often as you'd like to see. It's a good turnover there for A.J. Barry. Here's an opportunity. Cañero bouncing puck in the low slot. Unable to find that was John Norton, and that allows Tampa to spring a rush the other way. Here comes to the net. Burton snapping one over the near corner. He hopped over the stick of Seth Fisher in net. Barry will settle down a bouncing puck. Sidestepping a check. Good job by Norton to get out of harm's way for now. Connor Moriarty from the red line. Another dump in. Fresh changes. Out comes the top guy. Sam Watson. Carter Baker. Right side of the ice. Reagan Lyon starts a breakout himself. Saucer to Lou DeFalco on the opposite wing. Towards Fisher. Good save by the young netminder. A follow-up is blocked down from Reagan Lyon. In front of that was Moriarty. Norton skates away from defenders. Forward this pass ahead with a heap of speed. Baker on side. Poke checked by Nealing. Watson and Andonovsky establish the neutral zone. They get over the Boca Ice logo. Entering comes Andonovsky. Watson in the middle. Gets it to him. Not before it's whacked away by Cowart. Towards the net. Terry well wide. Baker and Buchigras try to sustain the forecheck. They cannot. It's going to be backhanded out by Reagan Lyon. And there's Bryce Krause, number 88. He gets a turnover. Krause comes to the net. Saved by Fisher. That's 88 in black. He told me before the game that I'm going to score a goal. Hasn't had one yet this year, and that's going to be waved off because it was a high stick. Boy, a tough turnover by the Owls. The self-inflicted wounds showing up a little bit early for Andrew Yagoda's squad in his second season at the helm.
Yeah, and this is not what the Owls need at this moment.
We got a draw to the right of Fisher. And a good little win for the Owls on the face-off. Lost Comtois-Tumen and Snyder get on side. In front for Comtois-Tumen. Crashes into the netminder. Adamczyk, he's down. Early whistle because the net came dislodged. As he got crashed into by Comtois-Tumen. That was a nice rush by the Owls. Started off the face-off win. Everyone looks okay, no worse for wear. One thing to note here, Sydney, we have not seen Drew Renzi on the ice yet. I didn't see any indication that the top scorer for the Owls would be out of the lineup tonight. But if that's the case, that's a huge loss for Andrew Yagoda's squad, considering he makes up a third of really all the scoring with Petito, Sam Watson on this M3 squad.
Oh, absolutely. And I kind of want to understand why he's not on the ice at the moment.
Yeah, it's somebody that quarterbacks a lot of the forecheck for M3, and they're going to need their depth to do something if they want to compete. It's one of the best teams in the country. Number 2, Spartans, 10-3 on the year. Bryce Malcolm wanted to get it to Comtois-Tumen, flipped it too high, past the glass. Sent out by Antanasio. For a moment, it was kept onside by Bartoshevich. Owls are changing as the Spartans regain the offensive zone. Cowart to the net. That one's whistled wide. Up right wing, here's Norton. Bayona rather, takes the shot. That's a shoulder stop by Adamczyk. Petito, number 12, almost crashed into his own man. Hooking back into the zone, Iannicelli couldn't get around the defender. He stood up by Cowart, and that allows the puck to trickle in on Adamczyk for a whistle. 9:45 to go in this first period. It's been a very fast pace. We've gotten a little more stoppages. The only stoppage of the first 3 minutes was the goal by Tampa, much to the chagrin of Owl fans. I think we're all thankful because we had a delayed puck drop by about a half an hour due to a Bantam game going on before this.
And I have to say, that was a pretty intense game.
Yeah.
If I do say so myself.
Usually you see those kind of are Donnybrooks where it's like 10-8, and like, you know, the only stoppages are for goals. That one, both teams were colliding. The kids were fired up. One of them slammed their stick at the end of it.
I know.
Fun to
2-1
see.
was the last score too. Like, that was crazy.
Unreal, yeah. And you know, the parents are just so riled up for those kinds of games. They were screaming up here on the balcony at all their kids on the ice, and I can't say it's much different in the club ranks. So Tampa fans traveled well. They were fired up yesterday after 15 goals from their players. And right now they're off to a good start. It's 2-0. 19-14 left in this first. Goal scored by Cal Harrington and Reagan Lyon. Spartans, nice flip between the legs by Harrington. Gave it back to Petito, however. Hoffberg is hounding Petito and Watson in their own zone. Owls having a hard time getting out of the zone. They just flip it to the neutral zone where it's Cole Burton. Will take that all day. Spartans are having their way right now with the puck possession. Back and forth. Moriarty can't get around Harrington. He steals it. Has one player in the middle. Moriarty takes out of the play Lehrhaupt. He wanted a return slash and missed him. Baker is offside as Sam Watson and him miscommunicated. And we've got our first call of the game coming. There's an indication of a slash. So they're going to put a Spartan in the box. That's Lehrhaupt. So they did get him for that slash when he tried to return from Moriarty, taking him out of the play. Big opportunity here, Sydney. Owls were only able to capitalize on, well, actually none of their power plays. They gave up 4 power play goals. Only had 3 chances all night.
Yeah, but no matter what, it's always crucial for the team in power play. So maybe we can see something happen with this one.
Yeah, they just got to get an offensive zone set up for the moment because they've got Alan Weitzman, number 11 in black, just pinning the puck up at the end boards. Sorry, I needed a cough button there. We don't have one. Here's Jake Nealing. Peter Petito trying to cut to the net. He's poke checked. This one's sent way down the length of the ice. Owls struggling to get their power play forecheck established in the zone. Carter Baker connects with Watson. Playing that hybrid role. You'll see him switch from the defensive position to center a lot tonight. 15 in powder blue. Stood up by Lavulo. Pin him to the corner. Watson is there with Baker. Gets it to him. Number 20 in powder blue. Nealing fights him off. Lavulo up but not out. Petito swings it for Moriarty. Back for Watson, a one-timer, and it scores! That one went through the 5-hole of Jack Adamczyk, and the Owls have scored their first power play of the weekend. Spartans left him all alone on that right side of the ice, Sydney. And Watson, we talked about the leaders needing to do something in the scoring margin. Well, that's nobody better than their captain.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Watson to be able to be in the top line at this time and just be able to execute is exactly what they need.
That was a great feed cross ice as well. And Adamczyk, a young goaltender that has not seen a whole lot of action early in this one, but FAU did score. It's a thing where they play pretty decently in the start of games. It's later in the contest where they kind of struggle to keep up a bit. So Petito gets the sole assist on that goal by Watson at 12:42. So we hear our great PA announcer, Chris, giving the announcements. FAU was in that game last night. They had it tied at 4 midway through the second, and they had the lead going into the break 2-1 on a buzzer beater by Peter Petito. 0.2 seconds left.
Wow.
Always insane to see those in hockey, especially. Just beating the buzzer, but right now it's 2-1, and Trying to get inside was Barry. He had a goal yesterday, and Cowart prevented him from getting on the puck. No interference. Back towards the net. That one's fought off by Fisher from the stick of Weitzman into the lineup. Scratched yesterday. Connor Moriarty and Buccigross out of their own zone. Alexi Iskra enters the play. He's worked over. Connor Moriarty has it. They'll look to turn up ice on the near wing. It's flipped to the neutral zone by A.J. Berry off the shoulder of Alexi Iskra. And Tampa, just like that, re-enters. Fought off with a blocker of Fisher. It scores to the top of the point. A fight ensues to keep it onside. A whistle comes. And let's see what the call is here. It's a hand pass. And one final note about that penalty on Eric Lerhaupt, for slashing. This is a Tampa team that takes as many penalties as anybody in the nation. They have 321 penalty minutes officially registered. That is number 2 in the conference behind USF and top 10 in the nation. So even though they put up all these goals, have all this depth scoring, they tend to take a lot of penalties, and that's something that Jack Walsh told me earlier this week that they have got to find a way to limit because it's killing them. The power play, penalty kill rather, has been at 90% on the year. And just like that, another call's coming up on Tampa. This one's for hooking. They're going to get 28 in Reagan Lyon. So here we go, Sydney. An opportunity again for the Owls less than 2 minutes later. So Watson is directing to get people on the ice. He wants to get Barry out there with him, the youngster. A.J. Barry is a quality addition to this team in the offseason out of Davie, Florida. Archbishop High School in Florida. Played for the Cincinnati Cyclones and was a product of the Florida Junior Blades, USPHL Premier. That's a pretty good junior program if you're going to come from the state of Florida. So here's Sam Watson. They have not started the penalty timer. Tampa bench is wanting them to start the clock, and they haven't yet. Time trickles down, 5 minutes to go in this first. Sam Watson, left side of the ice. Barry's in the middle. Banked it off the end boards for Petito. He'll reverse fields. Gets it up to the point. Plays tag with Strum. Gets around one defender. Over to Strum. Rather Norton. Left side of the ice. Trying to find Petito off the end boards. Back for Watson, left side. That is Connor Strum, number 44. Second guessing myself somewhat. Here's Cowart. And Tampa unable to dump it out. Good job sealing the wall by Petito. Hauled in by Strum. Watson off a quick shot. Fought off with the pad of Adamczyk. A.J. Berry skates away from Harrington. Deeper, flipped over the stick of Carter Baker. Keeps the play alive, however. This is a good sustained power play for the Owls right now. About a minute to go in the man advantage. Petito thinks about a shot. Blocked by Cowart. Second opportunity, trying to put it in front. Berry, a second opportunity, and it's blocked. That was Cowart getting in front of the follow-up. Now Watson can't handle the initial feed, and in the passing lane, Harrington down the length of the ice. Great movement by the Owls. They don't register a clean shot on Adamczyk. So with 30 seconds to go, A.J. Berry looks to re-enter. Watson holds it on. Trying to dump it out was Gelman unsuccessfully. Watson deeper to the zone, behind. Takes a hit from Weitzman, and he's barreled to the ice. Onside, Strum. Left side for Berry. He stood up, and kneeling has an odd man rush the other way. Out of the box, 3-on-1 develops. Now 3-on-2, and that shot's missed wide by Gelman. As the penalty expired, the clock was off by about 5 seconds, and that's why they let out of the box with a heap of speed Reagan Lyon for the 3-on-2. Spartans, though, back to the attack. Stopping Thompson. He's turned over. Owls back with a 3-on-2. Bayona leaves it for Iannicelli. Stick save by Adamczyk. And far wing tapped out by Gelman to center. Taken by Thompson inside. Middle of the ice, Sickles is there. He's rubbed out by Cañero. Keeps the play alive, goes to the net. Fisher held the far post strong. Owls up and held onside. Deeper by Gelman. He flipped it out of play, however, so that will stop, and both teams will change. 2:23 to go in this first period. So despite that power play failing, Sydney, you can feel the Owls gained a little bit of momentum from that.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need, especially going into the end of this period.
Yeah, and if they can find a way to sneak one at the end here, it would do wonders for their confidence. You've got to wonder where they're at mentally, considering they gave up as many goals as they did. By far the worst loss, at least goals deficit-wise, in their young history. 2 seasons as a Division III program. Iannicelli in front for Cañero. He's stood up by Valencio. That allows a racing Thompson out to neutral ice. He'll enter the zone with help. Norton tries to steal the puck away. Slams him to the boards. Valencia has it in front, centering feed. Nobody home except Powder Sweaters. Norton sidesteps Valencia. Deeper by Sickles. Once more, back in front. He'll skate to the middle of the ice. Bounce to the near half boards and then up to the point. Cleared by the Owls and carried from the red line, dumped in by Terry. Adamczyk to play the puck, lefts it for Calvert. He'll go D-to-D with Atanasio. That one's tapped by the stick of Sickles all the way into Fisher. So with 2:15 to go, Spartans do just enough to get a fresh line out there, and so will the Owls. And how about a good job by Andrea Goda's squad to just, I guess you could say, weather the storm, right? This could have been a lot bigger of a goal differential in this first.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I would like to see from FAU is when they have the puck, they've got to keep it, especially in transition. And that's in those 1v1 battles, because we see that Tampa's a very strong and aggressive team, so we got to be able to maintain the puck.
Absolutely. The biggest thing, right, they sometimes are a little nervous holding the puck, right? You got to hold on to that for longer, as that's held on by Fisher. And we've talked so much about the talent on the Spartans side, but what does Andrea Goda do to help out a little bit of his forecheck? Well, he moves Sam Watson to that defensive spot so that they have somebody that can carry the puck up ice and at least sustain somewhat of a forecheck, considering last night they were just chasing the entire second half of the game and never got in a groove again. To the net, Fisher with a strong glove stop, flashing the leather old school style. That was Alan Weitzman who sends it on. Some quick face-offs for the Spartans here. Some nervous territory for this FAU crew. And they lose the draw again. Losing an edge on the hook with Satsoulis. Moriarty plays him all the way to the end boards. Carried by Weitzman though. Weitzman turns around with a shot sailed high. Far blue line held onside by Lavulo. Deeper for Satsoulis. Bounced to Watson. Gets it to Moriarty, and then Norton, who gave it right back to the Spartans in Lavulo. Flipped to center ice. Bryce Krause has it onside. Barely kept onside. A very controversial no offside call there, as they had Satsoulis potentially offside. They fight in the near corner for it. The Owls come up with it for now. It bounces through a number of players, and now a 2-on-1 springs. Bayona in the middle, shot, scores! Bayona! Tie game! Well, they do get a goal and tie this game up with 1:02 left in the first.
Yeah, and it is electric now right here in Boca Ice. Exactly what they needed.
Exactly, just a lightning rod, just like they did last night. Petito had the go-ahead goal at that point in the game. It was 2-1, but this one just feels like the Owls have somehow willed themselves on the limited chances they've had to put it through this young netminder at Adamczyk, and they're not done. Petito stood up on the whack by Harrington from the point, and a glove save by Adamczyk. And gosh, you feel like the life has come back for them. They are really rewarded for their good play defensively.
Yes, absolutely. And it feels like the FAU Owls finally have gotten into their groove.
They had Sam Watson right down Broadway with Bayona. He elected to take the shot himself. What a big goal for one of the additions to this Owl crew. Carter Baker trying to one-time it through. Connor Strum from the point, directs it to the far boards. He gets smashed into the glass by Lerhaupt. At center ice, a big hit from Moriarty to Harrington. Owls re-enter the zone. Carried back by Hoffberg. He'll go D-to-D, swung for Jake Nealing. Through a defenseman, up for Harrington. He's got a man in the middle. Harrington to the net. Fisher fought it off. A second try went through his 5-hole, and he had help on the goal line. No goal for the Spartans with 16.2 left on the clock. Wow. Last point about Bayona out of Royal Palm Beach, Florida. Really somebody that was provided to replace some of the scoring by Georgiano and Cuccia, who moved up to that M2 squad for FAU this year. And you talked about puck carrying ability. I feel like Bayona is an underrated player in that regard.
Yes. No, he's doing an excellent job on the ice.
Carter Baker. 6 seconds to go. Centering feed into the legs of Harrington. Sidestepped. 1 second to go. Sharp angle try goes off the outside of the net. And that will do it. Resilience by the Owls, who were down 2-0 early in this first. They get answers from their leaders. Sam Watson with 2 points, a goal and an assist on John Bayona's 2-on-1 finish. Tie game 2-2 as we enter the frame. We'll resume in 15 minutes time. You're watching Florida Atlantic and the number 2 Tampa Spartans in M3 action on Owl TV. Second period awaits us in what is a surprising tie hockey game after two FAU goals late in the first period by Sam Watson and John Bayona have this one even. Devin Serra alongside Sidney Nada, and to all of our surprise, delightfully, FAU is competing in this game. They look like they gained some momentum from that power play goal by Watson. But what did you like most about the Owls game in that first?
Yeah, I love that they remained calm and they played their game. They were down 2-0 and it could have been a lot worse, and they were able to stay defensively, and in moments and in power plays, they were able to attack and find goals. Yeah, and they got some help from Seth Fisher. Faced 12 shots in that period, 10 saves. You can't really discount him on either one of those, considering the Owls have had some breakdowns defensively. But they look like they hold the neutral zone better in the second. We'll see if they can reach the second half of this game better than they did yesterday. Yeah, and to Fisher, he's done an excellent job in goal and just having great saves and doing his job. Yeah, do his job, so you can ask, and he'll make the stops you need, but they need a full 40-minute effort, at least for now, because this is kind of where the game got a little bit away from the Owls yesterday, and in all honesty, and they led 2-1 after the first period. We're tied 4-4 midway through the second. Let's see what kind of FAU team we see. Andrew Yagotis, very, very active outside of the locker room, drawing up plays in that intermission, and I think his team is feeling the jump. So we'll flip sides of the ice. Owls go from right to left in those powder blue uniforms, the red buckets. Tampa in their Empire Strikes Back black and red trim sweaters. When a team wears all black and they're really good, it is a little bit intimidating, I must say. Oh yeah, 100%. At least they look the part. Their M2 team wears a similar sweater, but this one is personally my favorite out of the Tampa wardrobe closet. Every team is a competing one at Tampa. M2, M3, their women's is dominant. Multiple blowouts earlier this season. Here's a shot on Fisher. Follow-up wouldn't go. That one's fought off. Trying to jam it short side. Oliver Hofberg. Turned over. Here he is. Hofberg to the net. Scores! The third of the weekend for the sophomore out of Brandon, Florida. And Tampa has the lead back. Yeah, just like what we saw in the first period, they came out and they came out strong. So thinking of FAU, how are things going to change? It's a tough turnover. They had three bodies on top of the puck, and Hofberg got by everybody. Stuffed it over the right pad of Seth Fisher in goal, Sydney, and that's just a killer considering they had all that momentum going in, and now this is where the mental fortitude is going to be tested for this FAU team. They have not done well when they have gotten scored on early in periods. Moriarty takes his man out of the play, and that's going to be an interference call. Actually, they're giving him on a slash. Could have been either or. That was Alexi Iskra crashing into the right post. Rather, Alan Weitzman. Here comes this Tampa power play. They were killers yesterday. They were a perfect 4 for 4. Late in the second period, there was a couple of just late coincidentals that you really could say they went like 4 for 6, 4 for 7, but really they were perfect on their man advantage. Now this is the first opportunity of the game for them from the slash. And let's see what they do with it off the face-off draw win. This one's handled. Gelman, left side for Cowart. And that puck is way out of here to the upper balcony, deflected off an Owl stick. Sitting over there. Yeah, right. There's about one fan just calmly standing over there with a beard. But it missed all of the M2 guys who are getting ready for their matchup with Florida coming up in about an hour and a half's time. Owls lose the draw to Cowart. The alternate captain in Gelman will hook with the puck against Strum. Iannicelli keeps him honest. Cowart looks left. Back for Gelman in front. Wanting to touch it with Sickles, and it was too far away. Harrington now has it. Bayona defends him well. A little whack by Buccigross unsuccessful. Cowart back for Cal Harrington. He'll skate to the middle. Up the middle through two defenders. Poke check by Iannicelli. Cowart retreats again.
Backed up to the blue line by Bayona. Off the boards for Sickles. He'll cross-ice feed it quickly. Off the boards, Gelman wanted to play a bouncing puck. A turnaround try, once, twice. Unsuccessful. Fisher fought off Eric Lehrhaupt. 1 minute gone in the first power play for Tampa of this game. The power play goals were scored by 4 different Spartans. Here's a drop pass in front. Trying to slam that was Gelman. Wide of the left post. Kept deeper by Hofberg. Buchigras in there. Centering feed. Backhand and fought off by Fisher. The follow-up goes through the blue paint from Sickles. Time dwindling down. 35 to go in the man advantage. Play is whistled dead as the far post came off its mooring. And Tampa will change their top unit because of that. Doesn't mean they can't score. This group still had success on the man advantage. As number 53 in red and black, Alexander Valencia is a killer at center. And really, top to bottom, this Tampa team looked like owl killers yesterday. Reagan Lyon jammed up at the boards is kneeling with A.J. Berry. Good job by him to help, up but not out. Held onside by Antanasio. Left side for kneeling. Calling for it, Atanasio towards the net, well wide. Picked up the bounce pass was Hofberg off the board. Strom down. Fisher made the stop. Knifed the puck away. 10 seconds to go in the slashing penalty on FAU. Kneeling. Fed it for Hofberg. He'll back up. Now once more for Kneeling. Through his legs. Out of the box. Owls survived the first power play. Real power play in a long time. And the first time really this whole weekend. It's a race to the Tampa end. Atanasio did just enough to spring the rush the other way. Antonovsky gets it out of harm's way from the defensive zone. Barry. Some quick movement by the Owls. Not electing to hold the puck for very long. Here's Connor Strum. Takes it off the turnover from Hofberg. Strum skates wide. Posted up by Atanasio. In the middle! Redirected, scores! The shot from Watson tipped in front low. And Carter Baker gives the Owls the tie hockey game again.
And what a finish that was, and especially sensing the team effort, just moving the puck along and finally finding the back of the net.
You know what I love most about that, Sydney? They forced a turnover at neutral ice, and that's something that Tampa has done to them all weekend.
Yeah.
And you know, this is how it felt in the second yesterday. This back and forth, you score, I score. It got to a 4-4 hockey game before the Spartans blew it up, scoring, if you count them up, 11 unanswered to finish that game. And 7 alone in the second period. Owls need to keep it up here as there's a whistle. And they're going to get... Are they whistling off a player here? No, they're going to put this at center. Or are they? Lines in motion. Okay, out of the dots. It was offside. So we're going to put this at the neutral zone somewhat. Closer to the Owls' end. Watson to dig in for the draw. 16:03 to go in this third period. And Carter Baker now has his second point of the weekend. Assisted on Peter Petito's goal. The last one for the Owls in the second yesterday. And a highly touted newcomer. Head coach India Goda was huge on Baker entering this season. Waterville, Ohio native out of Anthony Wayne High School. Backed up at the end boards is Ryan Wilbur. He'll get stood up by the recent goal scorer, Baker, who tipped the shot from Watson. This one's jammed at the far at the far post. Blue line, I'm all over the place myself. Look out, Tampa springs one back the other way. Left side, off the goalpost. That one rang by Satsoulis. Would have been his 4th of the weekend. And the Spartans' alternate captain, Cowart, will just flip it deeper. Michael Terry off the bouncer. Rubs a man out, and Satsoulis flutters to neutral ice where it's Cowart hooking back. He'll get around one defender. Michael Terry takes the shot, blocked in front by Terry. Bucci-Gross with a whack at the far corner. Iannicelli can't clear. Cowart, soft bouncer from Bryce Krause. And he stood up by Michael Terry, and Terry's going after Krause. He took exception to the extra moves by Krause. And so Bryce now will skate away, motioning the crying motion with his fist there against Terry. And Terry's going off on a good shift from blocking that shot. Runs in his own guy, Bucci-Gross, and that'll draw some extra chirps by the Tampa bench. 14:40 to go in the second. These are two sides that don't like each other. They're technically rivals. This M3 Owl group went into Tampa last year and knocked off this M2 Tampa squad. And they kind of had their get-back game last night. Rebound, look out in front. Fought off by Fisher just enough. That was Eric Lehrhaupt on the doorstep trying to jam it home. A long saucer out to center ice. Iannicelli after it. It's collected by Antanasio. Alex Lesko, first time we said his name tonight for the Owls. Hofberg towards Fisher, and a save off the shot by Harrington. And some of that chippiness is okay once in a while. Owls are doing a better job for now, keeping their composure. It's a Tampa squad, Sydney, that just wants to frustrate every team they play. And that's evident by the penalty minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Face-off win by the Spartans. Dancing with it is Burton. Comtois Tuman does just enough to spring one for Bayona. He's knocked off the puck, turned over by Kneeling. Lehrhaupt, dump and chase, go the Spartans, far wing. Two players come in to help. Harrington along with Hofberg towards the middle of the ice for Hofberg. Back for Lehrhaupt. Sharp angle try, blocked off Malcolm. The follow up towards the net. That one's knocked down by Strum. Great job getting in front of their goaltender. The Owls helping out defensively much, much better than they have been recently. Far wing Hofberg has it for Tampa. Gets around one man. Towards the net. Fisher has got it as Kneeling pounced towards the net. Crowd gathers, get them away, and you said, Sydney, at the start of the second here, the composure by Seth Fisher has looked great. I feel like his defense is starting to come alive as well to really just give him those second opportunities cleared out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to Seth Fisher, great work in composure, as you mentioned, from Kneeling when he was coming in with the great footwork.
Yeah, Kneeling has had a couple in this weekend, among others. At that time, Owls help him out, seal the front of the net. And it's a tie game with 13:03 to go in the second period. Goals by three different Owls: Watson, Bayona, and most recently Carter Baker. And Watson has a goal and assist on every single Owl goal so far. Long slap shot is saved by Fisher off the blade of Wilbur. And the schedule going ahead for both sides is really limited, considering that FAU will sort of wrap up their slate for now. They have a series with Clemson coming up, and then one with USF. That Clemson team is kind of in the same position they are. I guess the point we'll make before USF, this is the toughest opponent they'll probably see all season, and of course the first semester. We've got a penalty coming up here. Which side is it on, though? Did not see a motion. Never mind. So confusing. I thought they motioned a hold with the left hand on the official's right arm, but they put this puck at center. Okay. I did not see an Owl touch the puck at the red line, but nonetheless, Moriarty off the face-off win. Give it for Watson. Couldn't handle the bouncing puck. Sidestepping defenders, jumping on it, Sickles. Ahead, lead pass, Thompson misconnects. Moriarty gets stood up. Thompson back to the point, calling for it, Wilbur. One more for Thompson on the far wing. Deeper for Valencia. In the middle, broken up by Antonovsky. Flutters into Sickles' possession in front. Great defensive job by Alex Lesko getting in that passing lane, Sydney. He gets rubbed out. Sam Watson enters the zone with Antonovsky. Drop pass. Watson. Puck's in tight. Baker couldn't dance under his wickets. Got a shot off on that goaltender Adamczyk, who looks a little bit off kilter to start this game. That 5-hole one that he let in on the power play was probably one he'd like to have back. Getting shoved towards the puck is Thompson. Gets around one defender. He's closed in by 4 Owls, and they do just enough to flutter it to the neutral zone where it's turned around, dumped in by Coward. Tampa was making some line changes as Coward stays out there. Bayona, 103 goal scorers, has the puck. For Bayona, the latest one. Inside goes Petito. Anicelli was making a change on the ice. That's why the Owls left that puck at the opposite blue line. It's dump in by Moriarty. He's going to go off. Some soft changes. They want to get their second line out there, and Malcolm races back to defense. Stooding up, Reagan Lyon, the opening goal scorer of this game. Tommy Antanasio. Stick lift by Malcolm. Back with it is Strum for Bayona. Worked over by Gelman. Turns around him. Absorbs the check from DeFalco. Connects with Petito, the opposite 12. In the middle, Strum. Petito to the net. Scores! Petito's third of the weekend gives the Owls the lead. For the first time in this game, and the fourth different goal scorer, the Owls are taking it to the number 2 team in the country. Halfway gone in this second period. What a shot underneath the blocker side of that young netminder and Jack Adamczyk. Come back down from 2 goals. But Tampa, known for answering quickly, is right back into the offensive zone. Here's Kneeling with Satsoulis in front for Fisher. Bouncing puck, and he's got it in his grasp. Sydney, I don't know about you, but I am impressed, surprised, fortunate for Owl fans that they are getting to this kind of start in the first half of this game.
Oh, yeah, and this is such a great game to be watching at this moment, going back and forth, and now Owls having their first lead of the game.
And, you know, I talked to number 88 for Tampa, Bryce Krause, and he said it felt like as the Spartans took a shot on Fisher that they needed to really wake up when it was a 4-4 game yesterday, and they ended up getting the dominance in that. Went off the mask of Fisher in front, but this is what Tampa does. Look at them hounding in front, and a wide open cage to shoot with just the gloved side to beat. Weitzman couldn't put it home. Tampa, they just get a sense of urgency when they're down by this, and they're all over the Owls in the offensive zone. Moriarty flips it from harm's way. Unable to hold it with the glove is Burton. It'll slide all the way back to the Spartans' own end. Icing waved off. Jake Kneeling is there to stop on a dime. And last note we'll make, the Owls only led for less than a minute yesterday. Here's a chance. Through the legs trying to snap it home was Kneeling. Owls chasing the puck in their own end. A backhand. Traffic in front of the net. Buccigross for Norton will bank it off the boards. Down the length of the ice. This will reach the trapezoid, but icing was waved off again. The Owls made fresh line changes. Strum is back defensively. Now comes Malcolm into the play. Left side, in front of the net, and Watson broke up that puck all the way to the neutral zone and slid back by Weitzman. He's got speed. Turned over by Antonovsky. Baker in the middle. Antonovsky feeds for Baker. He's knocked over by Weitzman, who also loses an edge. Wilbur's in there to help defensively. Baker stands up his defenseman. Lavulo, Tampa starting a breakout with a race and speed. Hoffberg to the middle of the ice. He's thrown through by Watson, who lost his stick. And Donowski stands him up for Harrington towards Fisher. Saved once, and the rebound slides all the way to the point. Held on side by Wilbur. Left side for Lehrhaupt. The jump coming for Tampa. Watson towards Fisher on net, and he'll glove this one down from Harrington. And Watson takes exception to the extra whack by Harrington, and those two will gather. Wow, what a sequence. And that's what's so weird about this team for Tampa, Sydney, is that they know they're down a goal, and you just see them try and go into another gear.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the aggression just from the team in itself, from the motions between the two on the side, and also just them repeatedly going after Fisher at goal.
Yeah, and he made some good stops in there, maybe not ones that you'd like on the first try, rebounds, but his team is doing enough to help him in front of the net.
Yeah, I would have to say defensively, the Owls are doing a really good job getting behind.
And Petito does enough to win that face-off draw with Bucci-Gras. He'll slide it left side. Petito gets away from the defender Thompson for now. He's all over him for now. Bucci-Gras as the Owls play keep away. Neutral zone. Valencio can't break it up. Strum races in after. Lost handle of the puck. Cowart's there. Collected by Atanasio. Strum turned it over. In front, Petito! Oh, and Adam Chick with a great stop. And number 12 in powder blue, we've said it a number of broadcasts, moved down from the Division II team. 4-on-4 ice, by the way. Somebody that Andrew Yagoda was really high on with the praise. He said it was one of their most notable departures because he brings so much scoring ability. He's got a wicked shot. He doesn't get noticed as much, especially last year because of Georgiano and Cuccia. But he is just as good as Renzi, as Watson, and now John Bayano, who's emerging as a forward star for the Owls. Petito's got 3 goals this weekend. Spartans enter the offensive zone. Far wing is Hofberg. Touched the puck a ton this series with Atanasio. That's 2 sophomores in there. Cowart to the middle. Through the leg, scores! What a goal! Trace Cowart, how do you do? And this is a tie hockey game once more. Wow. That was filthy. Trace Cowart.
Oh, no, just great composure overall.
To do that, it's a flashy move, but to put it off the bottle behind Fisher, just able to raise that puck. Cowart is one of the best AAA products on this Tampa squad among many. Played for the New Jersey Hitmen in the USPHL. He put up a ton of numbers a year ago, 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points. Big reason why they had so much success at Nationals a season ago. Got all the way to the semifinal before they bowed out to High Point in a close 5-2 game. This one stolen by the Spartans. Back in. Backhanded through the blue paint by Weitzman. And they want the lead back. 10 seconds to go in the coincidentals on Watson and Harrington. As that latest goal by Cowart on my chart is the first of the weekend for him. Had a number of assists yesterday, but had not had a goal yet. Far wing, back fed for Kneeling. That went through his legs. Just too strong from Reagan Lyon. Bucci-Gras in the opposite two, and Kneeling stand each other up. Baker's at his own blue line to dump the puck the other way. Watson intercepts the puck at center ice. And he'll flutter it to the end boards. After it goes Bartoshevich. 4th line back out there for the Owls. A bouncer deeper to the zone. Tampa with some open ice to work with. Will carry it out with Lavulo. Gives it right back to Strum at the opposite blue line. Watson taps it ahead for Bartoshevich. He's got Comtois Tuman in the middle. Feeds him in front of the goal, and he flipped it way into the air. Stays in play, however. Far wing, Moriarty will take a try to the sharp angle. Follow up off the side of the goal. Watson comes in from the blue line to hold it in. Good sustained forecheck here by the Owls. Alex Lesko, right side. Moriarty to the net. Tipped wide. And out of the zone, it bounces off the half-board wall. Will trickle in on Fisher, but he'll keep the play alive with Lesko. Bartoshevich will hound Gelman in the far boards. Gelman behind for Reagan Lyon. Up top to the point. Snapshot towards the net, looking for the redirection was DeFalco. He got ran into to Fisher by Moriarty. Owls find enough room to start their own kind of breakout. It'll just be flipped way into the air. This will be called icing against the Owls. And just an errant flip. I'm not sure that A.J. Berry had, I don't know if he knew he had as much room as he did there, Sydney, because you've got to gain the red line to dump that puck in and not force a icing. So now with 4:08 to go, they have to defend out of their own end.
Yeah, I mean, just after receiving possession and now losing it once again, that's something we do not want for, or they do not want for the Owls.
It hurts no matter which way you spin it.
Yep.
But let's see if they can defend well. At the far wing, Cowart takes it to the net. Bounced off Alex Lesko towards Fisher. He held the far post well enough. A.J. Berry at the half boards. Hofberg directs one up top. Now back for Hofberg. In front, cross-ice feed! Great stop by Fisher on Lehrhaupt. Got his left pad in front. Hofberg again winds up, and it's into the protective netting behind. And I actually see up there in the upper balcony, Sydney, that's Drew Renzi just cheering on his guys, yelling at them to get going. There's 3:36 to go. And to everybody's surprise, considering what we saw yesterday, it's a tie game right now in the late stages of the second.
Yeah. Great combination on the ice.
Just love to see it because mentally this FAU group just looked defeated for the entirety of the third. Matt McMillan was left in net as well. Not necessarily his fault on any of them, and I talked to Andrea Goda about that, and he just said, as he looked out, turned over, here comes, out of the net, Fisher to save. Hofberg, the follow-up, scores! Fisher came way out to challenge Hofberg, and for now, the sophomore has given Tampa the lead. 5-4, 3:14 to go in the second. Man, that's a stinger for FAU.
Yeah, but that's what you call when you continue and you finish out the pass in the ending of the situation.
So Hofberg finishes that play. The sense of urgency. Tampa scores the last two. So the Owls took the lead. Connor Strum, stay with us for the intermission. If this one goal deficit holds, we're going to talk to a member of this FAU M3 squad. Right now they can't get out of the zone here. Sickles winding up. Left pad stop. The rebound in front for Thompson and held off by Malcolm. Smashing hit to the near corner boards, and that's going to draw a crowd and a penalty. A hook down. A crowd with Strum and Hofberg. Thompson is in there. Lavulo comes in late. The hit was delivered by Alan Weitzman on John Bayona. And he'll skate away nowheres for where, but let's see what comes out of all that. The initial whistle was for boarding. And then a crowd gathered as Weitzman got his head wrapped around by an owl. So they're going to put Bryce Malcolm in the box. Spartans also going in, so they'll give coincidentals here to Weitzman and Malcolm. Owl fans, though, want a power play, Sydney, because of that boarding on Bayona. Delivered to Bayona, I should say. Boy, what an entertaining game, what an entertaining period. It's like deja vu, but it's so crucial here, you'd think, for the Owls to keep this game at just a 1-goal deficit because of how this thing got out of hand late in the second yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, to take that into consideration, they've got to really take each period step by step. And so with 2:44 left on the clock, can we finish out this period to get to the next?
You know, Andrew Yagoda has talked about the mental fortitude. When you have those kinds of swings, what do you think goes into getting a team reset to focus on the task at hand? Is it literally that, or is it something else?
You know, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, in soccer, we think of big 5 moments. So finishing out the beginning, the ending, when goals are scored, whatever it may be. So yes, having that in mind, but also it's a team chemistry and it's the key team work ethic. We want it no matter what. It's in your heart and it's in your desire to finish each play out.
That's an interesting point you made, because Andrew Yagoda talked to me about an analogy he made about money, right? It's not like money is the root of all evil, right? But it's the desire for money, and it's about the desire, the lack thereof of that. And you sense that at times with the desire to score with this Owl team. They have gotten down in games by big margins, and it seems like once things take 1 or 2 goals, they kind of collapse and kind of have these, onslaughts where teams score a bunch unanswered in a row. And that certainly was shown yesterday. It happened in the USF game, and we're still waiting for all of this to be worked out for you at home. There's 2 players in the box on the score for Tampa, and I think what the conversation's about whether this is a 2-minute or a 5-minute, considering what happened to Bayona on that boarding. 5-minute majors are not grounds for disqualification, but what happened afterwards could very well be, considering that the Spartan got dragged down in Weitzman by Malcolm. But they have Weitzman on the board and Kieran Thompson. The only one in the box for FAU for now is Malcolm. This could be a power play here, and if it is, Sydney, I just want to know, what have you noticed that FAU's done well, and how do they get back to that level of game, considering Tampa's had the last 2 goals?
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about power plays. They've made really great movement forward when they are in them. And so I think this is one thing to consider while we figure out what's going on. But also, we mentioned the movement of the puck. I'm going to say it over and over again. Let the puck do the work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Right, because, I mean, in soccer, right, you have to kind of let it travel sometimes and not overthink and be so tight. It feels like this team for FAU is a little bit looser. They look like they're flowing better than they did and not so stuck in their own end in the box formation trying to block shots. They're able to move the puck up and generate offense. So here we go. We have 5 Owls on the ice and 4 for Tampa. So this is going to be a power play. 2 minutes sit on the board. They're resetting the clock now. 2:44 to go in this second period, and a golden opportunity for the Owls to get this game even. They scored 1 in the final 2 minutes of the first, but it's a face-off win for the Spartans. It's down the length of the ice. So they're going to call this officially roughing against Weitzman, take the other numbers off the board, which tells me they're going to give him a coincidental for Tampa and FAU. Or no, they're not coincidental, but they're going to sit those guys for 10 minutes, leave this thing at 5-on-4. If it was a coincidental, it'd be 4-on-3. Spartans shorthanded are back, though, in front, and unable to receive that feed was Harrington from Lehrhaupt. Whistle's called, and the net came off its moorings. That's why. Owls just survived a fire right there. They had all alone parked in front of the net Harrington. Puck had too much smoke on it from Lehrhaupt. Petito Off the face-off win, strongly for Baker. Gives it to Moriarty in the trapezoid. Rather Connor Strum, number 44 in powder blue. Enters the zone, immediately knocked away by Cowart. Petito turned it over. Here comes the Spartans shorthanded, fought off on the backhand. Save made on DeFalco by Fisher. Watson, a minute already gone in that power play. They have not had a shot yet on the man advantage. Sharp angle wrapped around the far part of the boards. Petito meets it at the half wall. He's got the latest goal for the Owls. Tampa just sends it to the opposite end from Atanasio, holding the near corner of his own end well. 34 left in that roughing call on Alan Weitzman. Directed to the far wing. Bayona and Strum get around a defender. He'll enter the zone far wing in front for Watson. Tipped through by Coward's stick for Tampa, and another dump out. What a shift for number 26 in black, and he sends it the length of the ice. Short-handed, here comes Harrington, and that forces Fisher to just hop on the puck and force a face-off draw. That's going to kill all but the chance Owls had on that power play. Tampa's just had 1 minute advantage in this game, Sydney, and they were unable to capitalize on it. It's an underrated point. This Owl team's taken a lot of penalties the last couple of weeks. I think we've said every broadcast they've had 8 games with 7 or more penalties, but just 1 on them tonight, knock on wood. Yeah, right. I saw you. Yep. You got to do it, right? It's not our fault.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be our fault. Whistle's called. And there was a roughing call. And it's against Tampa. Back-to-back roughing calls. This one comes against Eric Lehrhaupt. So with 40 seconds left, the Owls are going right back on the main advantage. They've got Caniero, Bayona, Baker, Petito, and Buccigross out there. Sydney, if you're on this power play, who has to touch this puck?
Oh, goodness. I would have to say number 2, Buccigross. Once he gets it, he brings it up the rest of the ice, it just makes great movement for the Owls.
There you see it off the faceoff win. He moves to the right side for Baker, who funnels it deeper. Caniero now gets worked over. Buccigross takes one in his mitts from the dump out by A.J. Lavulo. 2 players go crashing into the near boards. That's Weitzman tied up with Buccigross. Here comes Carter Baker, 15 to go in the period. Dumpin chases it. Lavulo's in there. Diving play, held by Baker. 8 to go as the period winds down. Far wing, Buccigross. Can't handle the bouncing puck. It's collected by Caniero, calling for it in the middle. Trying to backhand towards the net as the clock expires. So the Owls came back from down 2 goals. They had the lead for 2 minutes, and then the Spartans scored 2 unanswered. Trace Cowart on a highlight reel goal, followed up by Tyler Hoffberg. But we head into the break. The Owls only down by a goal. We'll have an intermission interview coming up with you next from a member of the M3 squad. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the finale of this series between FAU and Tampa on Owl TV. Well, a tumultuous period, to say the least, comes to a close, but Owls are within a goal of this one. I'm joined by Joseph Lozaritis, fortunately injured from this team, but good to talk to you, Joe. Give us your assessment of this performance by the Owls. 2 goals in that second on 3 shots. What has been the turnaround from last night when this game got away in this second?
The biggest thing, so we had a team meeting earlier, but players only, so got all the guys together and just kind of set the locker room to the right mindset. And I think the boys are just locked in today. Got to put more pucks on net, biggest thing. Goalie's giving up shots, goalie's giving up goals, so we got to put pucks on net, get the puck deep, get on them. Too much time in our own end, but if we get on them before they get on us, I think we can win this hockey game. So,
yeah, this team's without their top puck carrier in Drew Renzi. Yeah. Peter Bertito has stepped up into a big role, 3 goals so far this weekend. How do you see his play affecting the entire team and swinging this momentum?
Oh, it's huge. Whenever he puts one on the back of the net, all the boys get going. So it's awesome having him come down this year. It's been great. He's a goal scorer, which is something we lacked. So having somebody like that, I think he's on the second line or first line or wherever he is, he's putting the puck in the back of the net, and he really is. So it's awesome. But
what's the message you guys heard from Andrew Yagoda going into this final frame, knowing you're going up against the number 2 team in the country that has this momentum back from the 2 goals?
Biggest thing is just getting pucks off the glass. At each blue line, getting the puck off the glass, getting the puck deep, and getting in on them. Start attacking before they attack us. So,
sounds good. Appreciate your time, Joseph. Thank you. We'll be back in 6 minutes' time for the resumption of the game. Don't go anywhere. Well, you heard from Joseph Lozeritis in the break that this team has fight in them. They need to do a better job playing pucks off the glass. Sydney, rejoining the fold with you here. It feels like this game could be on ice for either side. If Tampa gets another one here, you wonder where the fortitude is for FAU. But by golly, have they been resilient this game considering what happened yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's what's so amazing about this sport, is just being able to see what's going on and what competition's going to look like. And I couldn't agree more with your interview. It was a great response, and I hope we can see it on the ice.
Yeah, an unranked team going up against the number 2, the mighty. They look like the Empire Strikes Back out there in the all-black uniforms,
Yes.
and they look like it certainly, but this FAU group is resilient. They're a young bunch, 6'9", 1-0 on this season. Tampa came in 10-3, 0-0. They got swept by the USF Bulls a week ago. They could not stop Jacob Duhaime or Grant Dietz, reigning M2 Player of the Year in College Hockey South. But with 20 minutes to go, the Owls will have 1 minute and 20 seconds of power play time, carried over from a roughing penalty on Eric Lehrhaupt. So what does FAU do? Let's find out in the final 20 minutes. This one's touched at the own blue line by the Owls' Connor Strum. Connor Baker has it to enter with Watson. A.J. Berry stands up. Cal Harrington, a big night for the freshman out of Richmond, Maryland. This forward, number 3, has been a junkyard dog for them. A.J. Berry behind the goal for Baker. Has a couple of points tonight with a goal and a few assists. Watson, 3 points on the night for him. Broken up, Tampa shorthanded, comes back inside. Alan Weitzman trying to dance around Strum. Gets it to the far corner boards where he's pressed by Baker. Help coming from the back end. Owls get numbers to the puck, and that allows them to start one more breakout. 30 to go in the power play. Barry wasn't ready to receive it. Petito gets around a defender through his skates, couldn't bounce into his stick. And that allows the dump out for Tampa's A.J. Lavulo all the way down to Seth Fisher. 15 to go, one last rush opportunity before they let Lehrhaupt out of the box. So Owls staring at going 1 for 4 on the man advantage in this game. Their lone power play goal was from Sam Watson all the way back in the first period. Feels like ages ago the way this game's gone. Carter Baker heads one for Watson. Tipped at the blue line. We're back to 5-on-5 even strength. Owls are keeping the Spartans 0 for 1 on the man advantage so far here, Sydney. And I'll tell you what, if nothing else happens, at least they've kept the penalties down.
Yes, that is for sure.
It's a big testament to Andrea Goda's message that's gotten to this team. Joe Caniero at the red line. Takes a check to make the play. Gets it deeper for Jake Nealing. Nealing will take a lap. Gets around Caniero, who took a tumble to the ice. He'll get up at the boards, and we've got a whistle called. And I believe it's for a hand pass. So Caniero gets called for that. So that'll bring the face-off into the Spartans zone. Not because it was Caniero, but another player. Had a couple of those times where I'm wondering, like, is it an Owl that touches on the hand pass? Is it a Spartan? Because that has a lot to do with where the face-off is placed. But they ultimately put it in the Spartan zone. They get out of harm's way anyway. Here's Trace Coward. Had a highlight reel goal to go and tie the game late in the second. He's going to dance around, taking a check from Bartoshevich. One Owl comes in to help and races John Norton. Another Bayona gets taken down. Caniero gets sidestepped by Coward, and we've got a whistle, a holding call. And it's on the Spartans. The 5th penalty of the night for a team that takes as many as you'll see in M3. And that's Kieran Thompson. Sydney, what are things that you could take away if you're an Owl fan looking at a power play that's been up and down and really inconsistent at times?
Yeah, you know, just taking advantage of it whenever you can. That's the most important thing. And we have seen that once with Watson's goal. But however, there are a few times when the time just kind of ran out. So if I was an Owls fan, I'd be rooting for them as loud as possible in this arena just to get the momentum up.
They need to have it here. 1 goal game. Shot right off the top of the crossbar. Sam Watson looks to the sky. He knows he just got robbed of one by the 2x4. And how about this goaltender? You know, Sydney, the Owls only had 3 shots in that second period, and they scored on 2 of them. Just 10 total in this game, but they've netted 4 on a young goaltender in Jack Adamchuk that's looked shaky in this game. And I joked to you before the game started that we're not going to see Adamchuk this series. But sure enough, that's the man Jack Walsh went to. And the Owls, with 1:22 to go in this power play, have an opportunity to tie it up. Here's Petito, skates wide, has Barry in the middle. Watson gets to his spot. Connor Strum wasn't ready to receive it. A bouncing puck stays on side through the skates to Petito. Has 3 goals this weekend. Turned it over to Cowart. And a race shorthanded, has 1 man to beat. Coward skates wide, the drop off. And Ethan Gelman couldn't get a clean shot off. Owls need to get the forecheck going. They're without a couple of shots the last 3 power plays. Petito deep to the zone. Rimmed around by Nealing. Caught up to at the point. Held on by Bucci-Gross. For Baker at the left wing. Watson in the middle. Bucci-Gross surveys. Rather Baker behind the goal. Gives it to Petito. It's away from Gelman. Bucci-Gross. Tip from Watson wide of goal. The follow side by Bayona on the ice. 29 to go in the man advantage. Owls are 1 for 4 in this game. Bucci-Gross can't hold the blue line. Gelman, break to the net. Alan Weitzman alone shoots. Fought off by Seth Fisher. A massive shorthanded save for the young netminder. That will eat up the rest of the power play time. Tough mistake at the blue line led to that chance, and Seth Fisher right now is keeping the Owls in this game. Tampa is at... Ow. Sorry, Owl fans, I just stepped on my own cord. That's what you heard there. Yes, it's okay to laugh. It's fine. I'm okay. Geez, that was like being in a car wreck. I don't know what happened there. There's a car wreck at the far side of the ice. That's A.J. Barry wanting a call. He's not going to get one. The hit laid by Nealing. We get right back into it. Hofberg from Jake Nealing. That's on me. I get a little bit too animated. You know what I mean?
Hey, I was a little scared for a moment.
Oh, they score! Jake Nealing! That one squeaks through the blocker side of Fisher, and the lead is now 2, 6-4, 14:54 to go. Man, if you're Seth Fisher, you've done such a great job in this game. Before I ripped the headset off by accident, I was going to say the Tampa Spartans had 33 shots in this game. And considering the volume, McMillan got 48 shots in that game. Fisher has kept his team in it. But Sydney, the Owls need a timeout.
Yeah, and I mean, rightfully so. It's kind of seeming like yesterday's game in the 3rd period when the Spartans started to just grow a little bit more within the game. And so within this timeout, can the Owls regroup, figure out what's their next step, and can they work to equalize the game again?
Sure. What have you seen that's made them so successful with Peter Petito and the forecheck?
Yeah, I mean, Petito himself, he's done a great job executing when he can and doing his job on the ice. He's done a great job also communicating with the rest of his teammates in the movement of the puck going forward.
I feel like the communication you mentioned is the biggest part of all of this. He can score the goals, he can carry it, but ultimately the other guys have got to be on the same page. At times they've moved as a 5-man unit. Other times they've given up the puck like they just did on that short-handed rush. And even though Fisher lets that one squeak through, it's not really his fault in most instances. You can't leave guys alone to the net. This is still very much a hockey game for the Owls, but they're not going to be without some strife. They've allowed the last 3 goals unanswered, dating back to the middle of the second. They had the lead for 5 minutes, and they were answered by Tyler Hoffman, who's got 3 goals this weekend and a number of points. So one of these Tampa Spartans is going to get player of the week, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be. You can take your pick at about 12 of them. Owls desperately need one here. Bucci-Gross, that one rang a piece of the iron. Spartans race up ice. Lyon gets through defenders. Knocked off the puck. Bucci-Gross directs. Lyon has it back in front, centering feed, nobody home. Bounced off the half boards, and a Spartan and Tommy Atanasio will dump it back in. Here's Connor Strum. Hounded by DeFalco. Got it far wing. Turned over from Gelman. Bucci-Gross in the lane. At the blue line, held onside. Tipped in front by Gelman. Fought off by Fisher. He's going to come out of his net to scoop it. And a quick shoving match. Sam Watson takes exception. Ethan Gelman is in there. Broken up by number 12, and DeFalco is going to jaw at Fisher a little bit. And can you hear that song? It says one more time. Can the Owls get back the other ice and just score one more time? Obviously, it's a 2-goal game, but it feels like you just have to get the next one somewhat quickly.
Yeah. No, you're so right on that.
Times are dwindling down. I don't know if we've seen this team capable of making a 2-goal comeback within 10 minutes. Towards the net. That one's redirected. Went off Thompson's stick. Brendan Sickles at the far wall. Put one in front, attempted for Thompson. He fanned on the feed to him. Bayona at the half boards is tied up. Owls turn it over again. This one's finally skated out by Bayona at the Boca Ice logo. Racing in after it is Iannicelli. Drops it for Bayona. Petito's in the middle. Iannicelli. Oh my goodness, that almost got behind Adamczyk off the side of Cole Burton. Tampa with somewhat of a break there. Here's Valencia to the offensive zone. Sickles will hook. Cross ice feed into the skates of Valencia, too strong. Bounce pass. Gets past Bayona. Directed by Adamczyk. Waited forever to move that puck. Canyero into the offensive zone. Big hit late. A.J. Berry, but absorbing that was Thompson. Onside, Sickles. Left pad stop. Kicked out to the low slot. Still in front. Cole Burton can't handle. And the Owls have a rush with A.J. Berry. They'll try and drag. Kneeling knocks him down to the ice. Both of them will sprawl. Kneeling lost his stick. High stick is called off on Canyero. And that's what stops play. .23 left in this third. If you're just joining us, it was Tampa leading this game 2-0 in the first. And the Owls late in the first answered with Sam Watson and John Bayona. Had a 2-2 stalemate heading to the break. Owls had the lead briefly in this game, 4-3, midway through the second period, before the Spartans eventually scored 2 more of their own, 5-4 heading into the third. And the latest from Kneeling towards Fisher, and gobbled up with no rebound. There's a penalty on the board. And that's why we didn't announce it there, Sydney. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to A.J. Berry. And there is some of that just undisciplined work by the Owls. A bad penalty to take here. Shot towards the net. That one goes wide. You cannot give this Spartan team a man up. They made them pay yesterday. Scored on nearly every single power play. 4 total in the game. Left side feed for Gelman. Went through his legs, and that allows a slapper out of the zone by Baker. He's got to go off for a quick change. Adamczyk leaves it there for Trace Cowart, the alternate captain. Forwards a lead pass, left side of the ice for Harrington. He'll flip sides, go in right wing. Lost handle. It's bounced off the boards by Bartoshevich down towards Adamczyk again. Good start to the penalty kill for this Owl group. Right wing for Weitzman. It's stood up by Bayona. They stay onside anyway, though. Dangling through defenders. This Coward shot towards the net, wide of goal. Fisher caught a piece of it, rather. Behind the Spartans, set up towards Fisher. They score! On the power play, Eric Lehrhaupt. 3-goal lead for Tampa. That's now the 6th different goal scorer for the Spartans in this game. And off that unsportsmanlike penalty to A.J. Berry, the Spartans have once again demoralized this FAU team. .11:01 to go in the third. Eric Lehrhaupt out of Hilltown, Pennsylvania. They call him Ryko. Product out of the Hershey Cubs AAA program in Pembridge High School in Pennsylvania. Got a ton of goals out in Hershey, 23 tallies for him with 9 assists. What makes this Tampa team so good is that they don't just have AAA product guys that were role players. They've got talented guys. Towards the net, scores! Alexei Iskra. And the Spartans, like they started doing yesterday, are letting this thing get out of hand.
Yeah, it just feels like the Spartans are pulling apart the Owls in every different direction, which is allowing them to finish at the net.
And for Iskra, that's going to be his first of the weekend, Sydney. And what I've counted now, that's the 14th different goal scorer for Tampa this weekend alone. Just absolutely insane to think about because of what it takes to normally win a hockey game. Maybe you're going to get 4 or 5 guys stepping up. Maybe you get multi-goal performances. They haven't just had that. They've had 2 guys with a hat trick in the same game. Brendan Sickles alongside
Yanni
Satsoulis. Yeah, good catch there, right? And I mean, it's just the point of like how much depth Tampa has.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The depth of the rosters is truly remarkable, and that's what you want on a team.
An 8-4 game. Halloween was last weekend, Sydney, but this is the scariest sight for any FAU fan. Shot on Fisher, fought off, and the rebound is cleared out to neutral ice. It's tough to see. Just feel for how Andrea Goda is so passionate coaching this FAU team that at times can't help themselves. The unsportsmanlike conduct by A.J. Berry in this game, a penalty on Justin Lopes yesterday, and then another that led to a 5-on-3, and that's really where the game spiraled out of control for FAU. Tampa went on to score 8 goals, rather 7 in the second, followed up by another 7 to make it 15-4.
Wow.
Just an absolutely insane mark. You know, if that ever happened in soccer, somebody's getting fired for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be like if, you know, you see like some of those World Cup qualifier games, like Brazil beats, I don't know, no offense to the Republic of Congo, but like 16-0, you know? It's like they pulled the goalie out from the street.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to penalties, like you said, those are just things you don't want to give away, especially with a team like Tampa.
Yeah, and it's not like they've taken many tonight. It's just the ones that they have are now going against them, and things are snowballing. 9:14 to go. There's going to be one on Tampa here. It's number 28, Reagan Lyon, going to the box. The game feels somewhat out of reach for FAU, but if they can find a way to have some little wins here, that would do wonders for their confidence level. At the point, Strum holds it on side. Petito's stick negated by Harrington. Strum sent it up for nobody in particular. It nearly sprung a break for 2 Spartans in Valencia and Harrington. It's a tripping call officially on Lyon. This is the 6th power play of the game for FAU, and they are 1 for 5. That's also an underrated part of the story. They just have not capitalized on the man advantages. Carter Baker dances around defenders. He'll enter. Drop pass for Watson. Return feed, unsuccessful. Foiled by Burton for Tampa. Strum at the red line. Softly plays this to Watson. Defending him honestly is Lerhaupt. He'll hook his own end of the ice. Quick movement. Here's Watson. Onside Baker, far wing. He wants some. Baker looking for the tip. And Lerhaupt saved the shot that came from Watson. One goes well wide from Strum. Not even close to the net. He's going to defend the lone forward, and Cal Harrington flutters past Harrington, gets from Strum, and he'll give it to Sam Watson. 40 to go in the 6th man advantage for the Owls tonight. John Bayona, one of the goal scorers among 3 in this game, or rather all 4. Watson, Petito, Bayona, and A.J. Berry. Rather Carter Baker, not A.J. Berry, but point still stands. Eight seconds to go. And they're just going to play keep away. This Tampa power play penalty kill suffocated them. Gobbled up. Spartans came into tonight, Sydney, with a 90.5% penalty kill. For layman's terms, that is insane because a typical penalty kill is usually at 75%, 80% at best, but they just shut down teams, and they have to considering they take so many penalties.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it here, and I feel like their defense is so good at just being able to be composed and work with one another in that situation.
That composure is something they've had practice with. They've certainly shown that in this series. They frustrated Owls and caused some coincidentals late in the game yesterday. Matt McMillan even took a charge and shoved over a Tampa player on his way through his blue crease. So it's the story of this one. 6:57 to go in the game as time dwindles down. Tampa, if this holds, would go to 11-3, 0-0 in the year, and they would have sole place of second in College Hockey South M3 behind USF. Trace Cowart through defenders. Getting to that puck too late at the point was Atanasio. Kieran Thompson connects with Valencio. Floated off his stick. Thrown in by Sickles. Opposite 92 and Malcolm to Holt. Around Valencio. Forward it intended from the half boards. A shot saved by Fisher. Barry directs it. At the neutral zone, Tampa will control. They'll re-enter the zone. Atanasio, far wing. Blocker stopped by Fisher, goes out of play. Coming up next, folks, FAU fans stick with us. They will take on Florida for the second of 3 games in this men's Division II weekend series. Almost won 6-3 last night. We'll have Sydney Nada sticking around for this one as well. Great to have you back, by the way, on color. We've kind of missed West Moore. We've had a few different people up in the booth here. You're as good as any of them. We appreciate you being here, Sydney.
Well, I'm always happy to be here.
And you study broadcasting as well at FAU, correct?
Yeah, it's my major.
Awesome. How have you enjoyed that so far?
Oh, I've loved it. It's just so cool to try new experiences, and the classes are amazing.
What's the campus life like? Hold that thought. Look out. Shot towards the net. Fisher fought it off. And golly, every time you look, just Tampa is ready to. I mean, they're holding no punches here. They are going to try and choke out this Owl team to the net. And Fisher didn't know where that puck was. He made the stop. It's flooded in on him, and finally will get a stop as this Owl team just cannot find the puck.
My goodness.
But anyway, like you were saying, I mean, what's campus like as a broadcasting student?
Oh, it's so unique. I mean, you have so many different opportunities from here with Owl TV and University Press. And I mean, as a student athlete myself, it's so cool to intertwine the object of broadcast with sports. It's something so unique.
Sharp angle try and Fisher is gobbled up. That one came from Reagan Lyon, and I can relate to that. I didn't play a sport in college, but I understand that you being a varsity athlete and a broadcasting major is no easy task to balance both of them. How's your soccer team season been going so far?
Well, we just finished up last week, I would have to say, and we did pretty well, but we did miss out on the tournament. So that's one thing when spring season comes around, we're definitely looking forward to, and just working together as a team.
You're holding your breath because Owl fans are at home. Another onslaught coming from the Spartans. Another shot whistles wide. The Owls cannot move the puck, and they're going to take a penalty, and it's going to be for high sticking. And I want to say to you, too, I know you've seen Owl games before, hockey, and you know how good the M2 team is, this M3 squad, but seeing a game like this, I mean, does it ever feel like it's weird? Because in soccer, like, you have a ton of goals, or not many goals, excuse me, usually, and in hockey, especially at the club level, it's usually like a 6-5, 7-6 game.
Oh yeah, I mean, just watching these games, it really keeps you on your feet, and it's great to be able to watch, and just excitement all around the entire arena.
And they're whipping shots left and right. Right side of the ice, calling forward is Bryce Krause. Bryce got barreled over by a good hit from an Owl. Looked like John Norton knocked him over. Oh, that's not Bryce, that is Tyler Hoffberg. In the slot, they score! A bottle rocket from Weitzman. 9-4, another power play goal for Tampa. Weitzman inserted into the lineup after he was scratched yesterday. The sophomore out of Middleton, Massachusetts. What a year he's having. Only 3 goals last year, and Sydney on our chart, he's now got 8 on the season, 15 points. And he's been the top scorer for them entering this series, averaging 1.5 points per game.
Wow, that is great as a player.
Tampa fans are delighted by the amount of depth they have. This team, number 2 in the country, is going to hold that spot, we believe. They got swept by USF, but a bounce-back performance against an FAU squad that they took care of business against. It'll be a tough pill to swallow for FAU. They're going to have to wash this entire series because they're going to have a tough one against Clemson coming up before they finish the semester with the number 4 team in the country in USF.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the score, we always, as a player, you always want to play hard competition because it prepares you for the next games. And regardless, it is, yes, what it looks like to be at the moment a tough loss, but you never know, and you always want to compete and learn from this in your practices.
It's a learning season. It's a learning game. Everything that Andrea Goda has preached to us has been that they're a young group that has to go through growing pains, and that's what you're finding out most of the second half of this first semester. They've had some tough series, lost to their rivals Lynn, blown out by USF, and on their way to another one here against Tampa. Bryce is knocked off the puck, and the net came off its moorings. That's what stopped the play. Also want to thank Aaron Krause as well for handing me a Scrub Daddy phone screen cleaner. It's a little tab. If you don't know, by the way, number 88, Bryce Krause for Tampa. His father, Aaron, is the founding member of Scrub Daddy, the most successful product ever to come through Shark Tank. Know that show that has like Lorraine and a few others? I don't know if Shark Tank's still going. Is it?
Oh, it is. Believe me, I like to watch it every now and then.
Really?
Yeah.
What's like the newest, greatest product that's come out from that show? Has there had any? I know they deny most, if not all, of what they get.
Oh gosh, that is such a tough question. I honestly couldn't tell you right now.
Huh.
But it's always something different and something new.
Right. You know, I feel like a lot of it is like, I would think it's like AI. Like AI is the big buzzword. Like, they've probably had like a few robots on that show by now.
Yeah, and it's always like something you never know you need until you have it.
I didn't know I needed a scrub daddy until I had one, so.
I know we have one in our sink too.
I don't trust anyone that doesn't use a scrub daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thanks to Aaron for giving me that yesterday. We appreciate all of you watching around Greater Florida. Tampa fans, you were nice to us in the chat, I think. I didn't get a chance to see it today, so keep it up if we see you again later this year. And here's a dangle to the net. And is that a goal? There was no indication from the official as Satsoulis went hard to the net. And no, or is it a center? What the heck just happened? What was that?
I think they may have called the whistle beforehand.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
right. You know what? I think it was offsides.
Yeah.
That sucks because a goal indication is the official can, chop the arm a couple of times. But sometimes all they do is just a single point. And that was a single point from the far official. And I couldn't tell where that puck came, whether it went through officials 5-0 or the offside. Owls get a break, I guess, but it's a 9-4 game. The outcome is inevitable at this point. Jake Nealing re-enters the zone. Tampa's not done yet. A couple of good blocks by this Owls, and I want to credit Alex Lesko. Sydney, he had a massive block a minute ago while we were talking about Scrub Daddy. Paid the price and prevented what would be another double-digit goal by Tampa. Jake Nealing, a great series for number 2 in black. Had 2 goals yesterday, knotted one earlier today, and a couple of points on the assists. Shot towards the net is redirected wide. 1:25 to go in the game. Getting barreled over after jumping on a one-timer was Wilbur. In the middle. That wrister is off the body of an Owl. Snapped the blue line, Bartoshevich. As his stick is caught up under Reagan Lyons' pads. They both will skate away. And a tough end to this game. Tampa scored the final 6 goals unanswered, dating back to the late part of the second. They had multi-goal performances from just one player tonight in Tyler Hoffberg. That's a nice glove stop by Fisher. He wanted to keep the play alive, but they gave him the whistle. So 8 different goal scorers tonight, and we had 8 different yesterday. So 16 different Spartans score a goal in this series. Impressive to say the least. They're going to be one to watch. We presume will be a Nationals bid this year.
Yeah. And I can't wait to watch them throughout the rest of the season.
Jack Walsh in his 6th season will pick up win 103 in his tenure. Some great conversations yesterday. A former player been to Nationals a couple of times. This Tampa group dominated pool play at Nationals and AAU last year. Went to the semifinal, lost to High Point 5-2, and they could have easily been the one with an M2 banner that the Owls so proudly hung here at Boca Ice Center. But this M3 team has a ways to go to get to that kind of level. They're going to swallow this one in a 9-4 final. The Tampa Spartans come into Boca Ice Center and take care of their rivals. They get the sweep and bounce back. And in front of Jack Adamczyk, who picks up another win on the year, they collect 8 different goal scorers in this game, 6 on the power play overall, and improve to 11-3-0-0 as we near the end of the first semester. And what's ahead for the Spartans? They'll take on Tennessee and a game on next Friday and then Sunday in Tennessee before they host a showcase. I believe they call it Jubilee. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but whatever. Against UCF, Niagara, and USF, some ranked opponents in there. FAU finishes with 4 on the night, same goals they had last night. But in this one, 4 different scorers. Sam Watson, John Bayona, Carter Baker, and Peter Petito. They finished 1 for 6 on the power play. Tampa 2 for 3 on the night, on the man advantage. So, Sydney, thanks so much for joining us. Great calling this game with you. We have another one coming up, but final thoughts on what ended up being a Tampa third period that they ran away with.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hard-fought match in the first and second period, and it kind of just slipped away from the Owls in the last one. So all great work from Tampa, and we hope to see the Owls figure out what's going on as they go into their next match with Clemson.
Certainly, it's going to be a series that they match up pretty favorably with. Clemson hasn't had the greatest season themselves. And anything you can find silver lining in is good for a young team that, like we said, has got to develop, has got to go through growing pains, and they just swallowed a tough pill with a 15-4 and 9-4 losses this weekend. So coming up next is M2 FAU taking on Florida for the second of 3 games this weekend. We'll get on the ice for a 9:45 p.m. puck drop. So for now, our great producer, Mitch Liswith, our color commentator, Sydney Nada. My name is Devin Serra. We appreciate all of you listening tonight. Final score, Tampa 9 and FAU 4 in men's Division 3. We'll see you in a little bit. Have a great night, everyone.